What's good, you too, man? It's your boy SB, and I'm back with another sports break. All right, well, here we are again with another division prediction. This time we're gonna be breaking down the AFC North, one of the toughest division in the NFL. Four teams where three of the four can definitely make the playoffs this year. So either than that, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. First place, a team that was number one overall in the whole NFL last year. We are talking about the Baltimore Ravens. Last year they finished the season at 13-4. Which was the best team in their division. Obviously, the writing was on the wall for them. Super Bowl was definitely in their grasp until they ran into the buzzsaw that we call the Kansas City Chiefs, which kind of did a number on them in the playoffs and saw a little bit of a heartbreaking loss. But that doesn't make a difference. This team was one of the best teams in the league, and their overall ranking show it. They were fourth in points scored, sixth in overall offense, and then they were first in points allowed, which means they allowed the least amount of points in the league, and sixth in overall defense. They didn't lose a lot of pieces, right? They still got the core intact. They shored up Lamar, gave him the bag, made sure that he was their quarterback of the future. They lost, two of their top running backs, which is going to be the biggest loss. But they also had one of the biggest gains in that position with signing running back Derrick Henry. So they kind of shored that up. They had a great draft getting Nate Wiggins and Des Walker from University of North Carolina. So great pick with Wiggins, one of the top cornerbacks that you could get in the draft. Also went out and signed safety Jackson. I think that's Kareem Jackson and Quincy Roche. One of the biggest losses they had was Patrick Queen, but I think that they have enough depth at the linebacker position and an overall great defensive system to where that doesn't hurt them as much as most people might think. It does suck that he went on and signed with a division rival, but we'll talk about that once we get to them. So really big thing for them is they were able to kind of retain a lot of the guys that they needed. And the pieces that they lost were replaceable pieces that they were able to kind of fill in with the draft and some of their offseason acquisitions. I do have them finishing this season at 13-4. Same record from last year. I think they will be one of the top teams in the league once again. I have them losing games against Kansas City, which is the first game of the season, which is definitely a toss-up game because, it's the first game of the season. They're the conference opponents, and they might have a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouth, seeing that Kansas City was the team that eliminated them last year. Also have them losing games to two of their division, have them splitting with the Browns and splitting with the Steelers, as well as losing to the Eagles. So those are the four losses that I have for them all season. The schedule is a little bit easier for them, save for the rest of their division because of how more talented they are. So I have the Ravens finishing first, but I'm not too confident about it because I think the second team behind them, being the Cleveland Browns, will be a force to be reckoned with. Now, when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, it all comes down to how healthy the filler is, with that being Deshaun Watson. If he plays all season, they have a really high floor, really high ceiling that they could reach. They did finish the season last year at 11-6, which was second in the division. They were 10th in points scored and 16th in overall offense. But this is where they hung their hat on, which was their defense. 13th in points allowed, first in overall defense. And they didn't really lose any of their defensive guys. They're all going to be coming back. And they're going to be two levels, right? It starts with Myles Garrett and then works his way up from there. They rush the passer. They play great defense behind them. The offense was really the problem with Nick Chubb getting hurt and then Deshaun Watson also getting hurt right after that. They're two key offensive guys. Both of them will be ready at the start of the season. Their season really hangs their hat on how well they can stay healthy and how long they can stay healthy for. They went and picked up great guys like wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, who I think is going to make a huge difference for them. They picked up linebacker Hicks as well as Devin Bush's linebacker, and running back Deontay Foreman to kind of give them a little bit more depth. And I think they're going to get back to that two-headed monster they had when they had Kareem Hunt as the second running back. I think Deontay Foreman can definitely fill that role for them. And nobody's going to want to try to tackle these two guys between Chubb and Foreman. For me this season, I have the Browns finishing at 12-5, which is a little optimistic, right? They didn't finish this well last year. They were 11-6. So I got them winning one more game than they did last year. But listen to these teams that I think that they're going to be losing to this season. The Philadelphia Eagles, as I said, I think they split with the Baltimore Ravens as well as split with the Steelers, Kansas City, and then Cincinnati. So now that I look at it, I do have them splitting with every team in their division. Maybe they end up sweeping Cincinnati, and then they don't have many losses outside the division, with only being Eagles and Kansas City. But I got high hopes for the Browns this year. I think that they're going to be a really, really good team and much better than what they were last year for sure. So in third place, we're going to be having the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Bengals were having an amazing season last year up until they lost their starting quarterback, Joe Burrow, to injury. And then it kind of went downhill from there. They finished the season with a 9-8 record, good for last place in the division. Their offense was 16th in points scored, 22nd in total offense, and then the defense was 21st in points allowed, as well as 31st, almost the last defense in the league. So they had a lot of moves to make and a lot of building to do. And I think that they did have the requisite pieces, made the requisite additions that they needed. The tricky thing for them is going to be Joe Burrow's health. Keeping Joe Burrow healthy and keeping Jamar Chase happy, right? Is going to be the two key things for them. They didn't trade Higgins. They still held on to him. They did trade running back Joe Mixon, but they got a couple good running backs. And I like Chase Brown the most. Really, really good young back. And I think that he's going to be able to fill in nicely and maybe be even better than Joe Mixon was for them last year. They also went out, drafted offensive lineman in Mims and wide receiver Burton from Alabama. They did sign an offensive lineman in Ford as well, so they addressed that a little bit, as well as some of the help in defense with getting safeties like Bell, Stone, and even picking up Rankins as a defensive rusher. So they dressed it. They put a little bit of Band-Aid over the defense to kind of make it a little bit better, which is why I have them third and not higher up. But I do have them finishing with an amazing record at 10-7. Like I said, the rest of the conference is going to struggle. The rest of the division is going to struggle with the schedule, but I think the schedule fits the Bengals really well. I have them losing games to Kansas City, Baltimore, splitting with Cleveland, and I have them getting swept by Baltimore and splitting with Pittsburgh, as well as losing to Dallas and Philadelphia. So I think those are games that are very winnable, especially looking at the Dallas game. That's a toss-up game. They could win that one, and they could end up taking one from Baltimore as well. Those teams always end up in a dogfight. But I think 10-7 is a very respectable record, and it should still be good enough to get a wild card spot if they're not fighting for one of the top divisional spots. And last but not least, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Steelers were abysmal last season. It's only due to the strength of Mike Tomlin and the play of George Pickens and that defense that got them where they were, right? That got them even in contention and even getting into a playoff spot. So, hats off to them. He coached his butt off last year for a team that really exceeded expectations. They were 28th in points scored and 25th in overall offense, as well as 6th in points allowed and 21st overall defense. A good job to drafting the players in the draft. Drafting Fatanu was an offensive lineman, which what they sorely need help in. As everybody know, they went out and got two really good quarterbacks in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Really a stretch to say really good, but decent, serviceable, better than Kenny Pickett, both of those guys. So we have to wait and see which one they're going to name the starter. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Russell Wilson because of the longevity, because of the experience that he has. They also went out and grabbed safety Sean Elliott. As we talked about before, getting Patrick Queen was a huge, huge gift for them. I foresee their defense being really, really good this year. And probably one of the top defenses in the NFL. But the offense is going to be the problem. Their running backs are not really as good. And like I said, the pass of the football, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, either one of those not kind of the best option in the league, probably mid-tier quarterback at best. I do have them finishing at 8-9, which is going to be a losing record. But some of these teams that they have to face, I don't think they can overcome that. I do have them splitting with the Ravens, which is crazy to say out loud. I think they might get swept by the Ravens, but I do have them splitting in this. I have them losing games to ATL, Indy, Dallas, New York Jets, Baltimore Ravens, as we said, split with the Cincinnati Bengals, and losing to the Eagles, Chiefs, and splitting with the Browns as well. So it looks like I got this whole division kind of splitting with each other, which is kind of how AFC South goes. AFC North goes. They beat up on each other a lot. These two teams run into each other, and it's always a dogfight every single time. I think once the Steelers realize that Justin Fields is the quarterback that they need, they might win more games. And as I said, I don't think Russell Wilson will finish the season under center. I think Justin Fields will get his opportunity. But after that, it's really, really hard to say. The defense could get them a winning record. And I think because of Mike Tomlin's streak of being one of the best coaches in the NFL, also gives them a chance every single year. So I do have the Steelers finishing fourth, but I'm not confident in that. They really, really easily could jump over the Bengals, only have them one game under the Bengals. So there you have it, you guys. That's the AFC North. Let me know what you think your rankings is in the comment section down below. Which team do you think is going to be the best in the AFC North? Is it as cut as dry as the Baltimore Ravens running away with the division, or do some of these other teams actually have a chance to win the division as well? If you like this type of content, make sure you smash that like button for your boy. It really helps the channel out. And if you haven't already, not sure what you're waiting on, go ahead and subscribe to your boy. That way you can get this content live as soon as it drops. Either than that, you guys, I'll catch you in the next one.